about the method called incremental reading, and perhaps some other apps mentioning that they are implementing incremental reading method, or perhaps just an add-on for that app. So in this video, my intention as an expert is to just communicate a little more precisely what those first steps and all of this minimum definition of incremental reading means, because it's just a bullet points, and that doesn't help much for people who are not versed in Supermemo. Instead of using the website, I have this already in Supermemo itself, so I will be using it. So let's start. First steps options, that means that all of those features are required. That means if a software is not implementing all of that, it cannot be called incremental reading, as in capital I incremental reading, capital I, capital R incremental reading. So first, space repetition. I'm pretty sure you already know what it is. So you get a flashcards in an algorithm, and you see that flashcard less and less often. Extracts. How you do extracts in incremental reading? What happens that everything that is incremental reading will be through Supermemo, because to date Supermemo is the only software that implements incremental reading following the minimum definition. So let me show you what extracts are. Okay, so I imported this from Wikipedia. Then let's say that I want to know what cybernetic is, like some description. So I select this text and I make an extract. Now you see it in a different color. That means it has been extracted. And if you notice here, there's a child of cybernetics. Cybernetics is a transdisciplinary papapam. This is what I extracted. So therefore the extract from the source, the learning source, if it's a book, an article, whatever, doesn't have to be text, by the way. I can chunk and chunk this as much as I want, just by selecting it. And eventually, I will reformulate this and create a flashcard. Next step are cloze deletions. So let's go back to the extract we just did. So in a different day, at the time of the recording, it's March 9th. So tomorrow this is scheduled. So what I may do, for instance, is I want to remember the name. What is a transdisciplinary and an approach concerned with regulatory and purpose systems, their structures, constraints, and possibilities? Hey, no, perhaps I can do yet another extract. Do you see here now? I have yet another child in the tree. And now, if I want, I can make a cloze deletion. That's slightly different. If you come from Anki or another software that only has flashcards without covering any of the learning process before that, is that you create it by this. You select the text, you make the cloze deletion. And yet again, we have another child, and that's how it looks. So that's how you create a card, a flashcard in Supermemo, in incremental reading, should I say. Next are red points or bookmarks. Do not let the terminology confuse you. It's not a bookmark as in Chrome or Firefox. Red points is, if I'm reading a topic, let's go back to the same example as before. You can see here I have a scroll bar, because this is quite extensive. It's a full-fledged Wikipedia article. So let's say that I do more repetitions and I read until here, approaches. So next time I will continue with definitions. Okay, so then I will move on, reading something else, like fermentation in food processing that has nothing in common. Then I go back, and that is a good example. So I just click next repetition, and look, I don't start at the very top of the article, like here. unless it's the very first repetition, the very first time I see that. So incremental reading memorizes that. But as a user, I can also override it. So let's say that all of that of history and prehistory, I don't care. So I'm not even going to read it, and I want to go straight to uses. So in this case, I'm going to stop here, because I will do this incrementally. But I want to let you know, hey, that is the red point here. I read until here, even if I had taken no action previously. So I can do that. Reading, red points, and set red point. So next time, even if I'm in a different place, I can go there. Reading, red points, go to the red point, and voila, I'm in the uses once again. And that will be true next time this loads in a genuine case that now it's the time to do the repetition, the review. It will be shown here. It will auto scroll until here. Next is the priority queue. That is the hardest to communicate. So you may have seen some other software that, oh yeah, there are priorities. High priority, low priority, mid, read it later, stuff like that. No, that are like buckets. Priority queue is a full-fledged queue. That means that everything that I have in my collection, all of the learning material, all of the topics I have, all of the flashcards, even tasks if I want to, they have an order. So I can go, as you see here, priority queue. So I have all of the elements, and I can sort them by priority. So that means that the most important element in my collection to the least important. So every element has its position in the queue and expressed in percentage among all of the elements. In my case, I have about 32,000 now. And usually, that's why you see here, for instance, is the position 22 or 21% of the priority queue. And as user, I will be prioritizing these every time. Almost every action I do, every repetition, I may want to override this priority, to update the priority. Why is this a big deal? It's a huge deal, even if it doesn't look like that. Because I have information overflow. Here you can see at the very bottom of my screen that I have pending, scheduled for today, or in the past that I didn't finish. And more than 11,000 topics, something to read and make extracts or flashcards out of those. Since I'm not going to do this today, because it's way too much, I'm going to use priorities. So whatever I have, I will choose what's more meaningful for me, what I will take more advantage of. Imagine if in Anki, I have a huge deck. And yeah, within the deck, everything is due. Oh, but within the do, I still have thousands. In what order I'm going to do those? Yeah, I make a sort field or sort criteria, but not with priorities. Then auto repetition, auto sort, and auto postpone goes in connection with priority queue, albeit not limited to it. Because in Supermemo, I have all of the learning process from the source of the material I want to process through the flashcards of what I have chosen to remember. I can interleave this. That means that I don't do only reading, then only flashcards, or the other way around. I can do one of each or whatever combination I want. And then I can also include randomness, some fuzziness. That, yeah, I want to follow the prioritization of items with some degree of randomness, and the same for topics. That means, let me sort now. That means, for instance, if I go now to the outstanding queue, do you see the L is a flashcard and the T is a topic, reading material. So now I will quickly modify it, and I will put a longer proportion of topics and a lot of randomness. but only for items. The flashcards. So if I open and I see everything that I have outstanding, that it's due today, look, now you see less blue, right? Now I have about 2 or 3 topics, reading material, interleaved with one single flashcard, the blue one. And on top of that, look at the priority. The red is the maximum, the highest priority. And I get lower priorities, more or less random. So this is what it means, that I can auto-sort this, the repetitions. And auto postpone is the same. Hey, I didn't finish everything, the 19,000. Postpone this to any future day, if I want to. Extract and close hierarchy in the knowledge tree, necessary for semantic review, is what we did before, but just to reiterate, we had cybernetics, that is an extract we did, and second extract that we did, and the cloze delation. So I know that this is the parent, and I can locate that this card was created not only for this piece of text, but I can backtrack the source, the entire Wikipedia page. In this case, it could have been a book or whatever else. Then, use imports from the web, at least HTML and images. Let's do that. And to make an honor to Supermemo, I will do it with the super old Internet Explorer. You can do this also with Chrome, but now because I'm recording and as a shortcut to protect my privacy, I will use Internet Explorer. So that means that I can import this, and I have a local copy of the Wikipedia article. It looks different because I'm using my own styling. I'm overriding the styling. And images, because I can see and download any image in that Wikipedia article. And I can insert it here. So now I have this image locally in my computer that I could use for image occlusion or just for displaying or whatever I want to. Next, HTML rendition. What you see is what you get. Yeah, basically, because what you see here about feedback in this case, that's the text that is in the file, the HTML code. But you're not seeing this code. You are seeing this being rendered. So you see this instead. So you have hyperlinks, a table, bolding, and all of that. And propagating images. That is one very tiny detail, but very important. So let's go with cybernetics. So we keep using the same example across the video. So I could do the same. I just did. And hey, first I want some image. Okay, I will be using this one. Insert it. If you remember, we did several extracts, but the extracts doesn't have an image. Okay. So now I have the image here. So what's going to happen is that if I make another extract about the overview, I have now a second level in the hierarchy, a second extract. But what happened? I have the image as well. And let's say that I make a cloze deletion of the year. So now I have a flashcard here. I made the cloze deletion. The flashcard has inherited the image. I'm not copy and pasting the image every time. And if it was Anki, I have different nodes, not cards, nodes. I will have to copy and paste that node. And it will require to have the same file name. Not here. Not only that, in this case, let me copy this for convenience. I can go to any place. For instance, the fermentation input. No, sorry, let's do something genuine. The feedback that was related to some degree with cybernetics is, hey, I can have the image here. Links, registry member, because at the end of the day, that's a registry. And here you go. I can reuse it. And therefore, since it's here, all of the extracts and flashcards I will do here, by default, will inherit the same image. I'm reusing that image across the collection. And that's the end of the first steps, options. So all of this, according to Piotr Wozniak, is required in order to call it that is incremental reading. With the vital options. Meet internal review with correction spacing effect. That means in spaced repetition, you have a next repetition, you have the date of the next time you will see that card. Let's do the same example we did. This one. In this case, it's just, it's 8 days. Okay, it's good enough. So even if I have created this today, this flashcard, I will see it in 8 days. But what happened is that I can do it before this date. And the scheduling algorithm will adjust. So what could happen, as we said before, that I have information overload, but wait, I can do it the other way around. I can do the repetition before it becomes due or outstanding. And the algorithm will take and adjust many other metrics to reflect this repetition. Next, early review tools. Advanced, outstanding. It's more or less the same. That means that I have 17,861 outstanding. About 400 are not outstanding today. Okay, so those are examples for my collection. Look at the next repetition date. It's in 2026. Oh my god, it's too much. It's too far away. So what I could do if I want is that I can advance this. And it's not as easy as to set the date sooner. In next week, today, tomorrow. No, it's I want to keep the difference. So let's say that this is in July and this is in November. So even if I advance this, I will keep this difference. So the mathematical generalization will be scheduled before the effort heuristic, in this case, from November. Overload tools will be the exact opposite. That I want to delay and to postpone, not to go ahead. Semantic review tools is that, okay, I have the collection, and where you see a bulb is what is called a concept. So instead of going through my entire collection, or what will be a deck, even though here doesn't exist a deck per se, is, let's say I want to do human science or biology specifically. I could. And I could go here and start what is called a subset review. There are many ways. So I could perhaps search feedback. And now I only want topics. Is, hey, I have 700 elements. So text to be read that they mention feedback. And I could start a subset here. In this case is schema in psychology. Next. Levels of processing, that is from Wikipedia. Cool. An article about the illusion of knowledge by Nick. And it's here's feedback. You get the point. What I just did with feedback is search and review. The branch review or subset is what I mentioned with biology. And there's still some others. Then, propagating references is the same we shared with images, but with references. Which, by the way, that happened. That was in the screen, but I didn't mention it. So what we did with cybernetics, if I said this was from Wikipedia, I can know that. It's here. The English Wikipedia was imported in October 25th, 2021, But I will always see those metrics at the very bottom. And when I did the extract, is I'm keeping this. So even if I see this in isolation, and I know that it's in this case, it's in the hierarchy, it's a child of cybernetics, I still have all of this. From this article, from the source, and the link, and. Why? Because I can move this to whatever point I want. Like that. Boom. So now it's no longer a child. Let's do this other one. So it's in a different place now. I can still backtrack it. Now it's in here. Oh, it's not a child. How I can do that? Well, I have the parent, or I have the article. That is the entire source. And look, it memorized the red point that it was here. How cool is that? So those are the vital options for incremental reading, the minimum definition of incremental reading. Then there are some other factors, some other features that are available in Supermemo, and let's say that are good to have, but are not, strictly speaking, required in order to have the essence to call it incremental reading. So we could say that it's just convenience. That I have progress statistics, I have a couple of filters. If I want an easy import, that was vital. I want to import easily from YouTube, Wikipedia, whatever that may be. I want to quickly search, have more visual learning, so features to crop images, compress images or zoom in images, formatting, like putting colors, bolding, all of that. So this is just good additions, but the point is that if an app had none of that, but had all of the what we said before, all of the first steps options and the vital options, we could say, Piotr Wozniak could say, that this is implementing incremental reading. In the bare bones, but enough to call it incremental reading. So let me know if you have heard of some extensions, add-ons from other software that they mention, hey, it's implementing incremental reading. Let me know at some degree how you think this fits the Wozniak definition of incremental reading. Because I know from the Anki add-on, the incremental everything from RemNote, and a few more apps that coined that. But you never know how many other apps they will appear in the future after this recording, or apps that from to date, I still am not aware of. So those are my 2 cents. I will share this video once every time, especially in Reddit. I have to say, hey, what is incremental reading? That is not, That's a video for you, in depth, with at least one example of each, what it is, what incremental reading is. Hope that has been helpful for you, and see you incrementally.